I'm Chris from MyMMAnews.com, being joined by Serena, the Southpaw Outlaw DeJesus, and she is competing next Friday, September 25th, on UFC Fight Pass against grappling sensation Evelyn Martens at Titan FC 64. We have not seen Serena compete in 6 months to the almost exact date. So, one, Serena, thank you for joining me, and two, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, but I will feel a lot better with like a basket full of tacos like in my system right now. I hate cutting weight.
So how did this fight come to fruition? We were talking a little bit beforehand. It's, 6 months ago we saw you in the cage. No real big news and everything. Then all of a sudden you came out, bam, Titan FC. How did it come together?
Mm-hmm. So I was hoping that I was going to get booked on the September card for Invicta. Like my manager told me like, hey, there's a big chance about that. So I'm like, oh boy, I'm cutting weight and everything. And then card gets filled. I'm like, oh. So kind of a little bit of depression eating and stuff afterwards. And then I was offered something for a Valor Fighting Challenge in early October. And that kind of fell through for some reason. And then again, I'm kind of annoyed because it was supposed to be against another Invicta girl too. So then my manager, Sean Rockwell, he got on the phone. He texted me like a few days later, like, you want to fight for Titan like 2 weeks, earlier? I'm like, sure. My weight's good. So, I mean, I was cutting weight on and off anyways. It's still pretty good. So,
right.
Yeah, I said yeah to it. And I didn't know the opponent until a little later. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. A fight's a fight at this point. You know what I mean?
Right. And so I want to ask, one, finally getting to get back in the cage, but after your last fight and COVID and everything going on in between then, 2020 has just been an absolute whirlwind. So
it's been wild.
It has been wild, right? So what has life been like for you on the daily basis, on the daily grind? And then not just that, but competing now Invicta, Titan FC, the list goes on. You're getting your name out there in such a broad scheme, and also leading it in autism awareness. How's all that coming? How's that feel?
Okay, so when COVID happened, it was super wild because literally a few days after I got back from the Invicta Phoenix Rising tournament, like literally like maybe 5 days, bam, everything's getting shut down. No going to the PI with my friends, no training in the gyms. And it also, like, everybody was in their house for a good few weeks. I'm like, man, I'm just back to prison workouts, ain't I? Just doing sit-ups and push-ups endlessly. So, and that's what I was doing, just endless body workouts and stuff in my garage, shadow boxing, having one of my little brothers hold pads for me. And then I got the brilliant idea. I'm like, hey, let me go text my Muay Thai coach, Marvin Eastman, to go train. And so me and my coach, Marvin Easton, were training in the park a lot together. No, it was not touch butt in the park. It was crack these pads in the park. But it was funny because I kind of had a little bit of an audience in terms of, wow, there's actually people doing things when we're in the park. And we did it even when the temperatures started, because in Vegas, the temperatures started hitting the hundreds pretty early.
Yeah.
Like in May, we're already like past 100 degrees. So I'm doing that out with him and everything was great. And then when the gym started opening back up, I kind of waited a week just to make sure, like, nothing crazy happened. And then I started getting back to our normal routine, training with the team, sparring, grappling, all that. And it was great. And it leads me to where I am right now, still on my grind, still doing my thing, getting ready for this fight slowly but surely. And as for going from one organization to the other, look, I'll fight for anything with a big name as long as the money's right and the opponent's right. That's honestly all I care about. The name may change, but the effort I bring in, that doesn't change.
Right. What I mean by that is it must feel so good that you're getting your name out there in such big organizations so early. And, like I said, with all the awareness that you're bringing to autism and being, the first MMA female fighter to, fight with autism, I mean, that made, a ton of news. That just, with your career being so young thus far, it has to feel amazing.
It feels great. I'm getting it out there. I'm being not a good public figure. Like, I still have people in my inboxes being like, hey, thank you for all you do. Thank you for being a good representation for it. Like, I'm telling my kids about you. I'm telling, my students about you. I'm like, this is a good feeling. This is the kind of shit I like.
That's awesome. So getting into the scrap itself, Evelyn Martens, she's a great grappler. Obviously, you know a ton about her in that aspect, but what do you know about her as far as an MMA fighter, and how do you feel about her as an opponent?
I don't know much about her as a, mixed martial arts opponent, either way, I'm not going to take her easily. I mean, she can try and grapple me. It's okay. It's not like I grapple with black belts all the time. It's not like my last two opponents were purple belts and I negated their grappling. I mean, I do what I have to do. And if she has them hands, I would love to see what those hands are like.
So how do you think this bout in your eyes is going to go from opening bell to closing bell? How do you feel it's going to play out?
I feel she's going to try and find some grappling shots in. I just need to implement what I've been doing lately with my team and just, you know, literally and figuratively stay on my toes and just be aware of it and then just execute my game plan. If she wants to come in close, I mean, okay, we'll just see how that turns out for her, though.
Do you think this bout might turn into a stand-up bout? Because she would probably think that you're anticipating a grappling bout. Do you think she might stand and bang by any chance?
No, I think she's going to try and shoot somewhere somehow. But if she wants, like I said, if she wants to throw hands, I like throwing hands. If she likes throwing hands, I mean, we could make this a little fun. You know, I just want a good fight. That's all that really matters to me.
So when it comes down to it, you want the good fight. You anticipate the grappling. How do you think the fight's going to play out? What's your actual prediction, and how do you get the job done next Friday?
Why does everybody ask me predictions? I always just prepare to just drag people in the deep waters in the third rounds. It's because every time I have game planned for someone or something, it always goes out the door. I can never ever make a solid prediction. It kind of just goes back to the old Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and just everything always changes.
That's true, but I mean, coming from the media standpoint, you have to understand. We want that little bit of that little bit of insight that we can maybe run with, but at the same token, there's so many people that their game plan goes out the window. They prepare one way, their game plan, just goes a complete other way, and then there's some people that it just falls down to the core, which is just absolutely crazy in the fight world. So everybody's different. So
ideally, I want to overwhelm her with hands and just have an early night. Yeah. But we'll see. I just want to stick and move. I just want to do my thing. And if she wants to initiate a ground fight, I mean, let's remember my only finish on my MMA record was a rear naked choke against somebody who was higher ranked than me in jiu-jitsu. And I just got my blue belt like maybe 3 months before. So I would like to think I'm good on the ground if I can pull that off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I would tend to agree with you. Now, moving forward, as far as last week, one of your best friends got the big W, and yet again, we got to see what I've coined, and maybe some other people as well. But I just want to throw it out there: the Roxy Run. What's the story with that?
Okay, there are some fights that are so stressful and I get so worried. Like there's some I've kind of been like, yeah, she got this. But there's other fights where it's been so closely contested. I'm like a ball of anxiety. Just like there's no other way to play. I can just feel it all in my chest, and I just start. And it's not just with Roxy. Like I do it with other things too. But I just got so excited when she got the win. I just got my shoes and just ran. Like there's no really rhyme or reason. Just let all the anxiety out and just be happy. And I guess it wasn't bad for me burning extra calories that way too, given I couldn't really eat anything and then that extra run. So I am that best friend that if someone who I care about wins, I'm going to be doing that kind of stuff. So.
Exactly. And just to follow that up, for people that didn't know, after her friend, one of her besties last week, Roxanne Modafferi, got the win, she decided to film herself getting all of her anxieties out on social media, screaming, howling into the wind, just getting everything out in celebration of Roxanne's win. And it's not her first time doing it, so that's why I've come to call it the Roxy Run, and I'm a big fan of it. Now, continuing on Roxy real quick, she's set to face Danielle Kelly in a grappling tournament coming up. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just going to root for my friend Roxy. She's been in my corner forever. Danielle Kelly's really good. I like her leg lock game. It's kind of slick. Yeah. But, I mean, hey, I'm always rolling with my homie. I want to see if I can get up in the audience and just roll up with some popcorn, because either way, this is going to be an entertaining grappling fight. You got 100%. The young, scrappy lion versus the crafty old lion. So it's going to be a fun jiu-jitsu game. A lot of people are like, oh, jiu-jitsu's boring and all that. I'm like, not always, dumb fuck. I mean, if you guys see him scrambling all the time, and you see, the game being played, it is neat.
I love it. All right, well, check it out, Serena. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Best of luck next week. I know we're all going to be tuning in. Titan FC 64, you're taking on grappling sensation Evelyn Martens. I appreciate your time. Get your social media out there. Let people know how to keep up with the Southpaw Outlaw.
So you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Serena Southpaw. I also have a athlete page, Serena the Southpaw Outlaw DeJesus, on Facebook. So follow me all over those social medias, and I will talk to y'all soon, I guess.
There she goes, Serena the Southpaw Outlaw DeJesus. Again, next Friday, September 25th on UFC Fight Pass. Make sure you watch her at Titan FC 64 as she takes on Evelyn Martens. And I do thank Serena for being on. And for Serena DeJesus, I'm Adam Christ. Make sure you keep it locked to mymmanews.com for all your fight news needs.